Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So here I want to cover the basic mechanics of the new reworked Lair of the Mad Dragon dungeon. This will cover what you need to know for the normal, advanced and master mode in order to comfortably complete it. So the initial part of the dungeon will just be killing adds up until the first boss. You'll just need to beat up these first few groups and then interact with the throne. Once you do so, you can proceed onwards. Here we just kite the enemies together and then one of the DPS goes up and interacts with the throne while we kill this next group that has spawned in. Once you have cleansed it, the door will open and you can proceed on with the dungeon. You don't have to actually kill the enemies. You could get as far as, say, the next groups of enemies and kill everything together. As we do here, we may as well just kite them up. That way we can save a bit of time. Here, this ad group, you're going to have to either lure them away or kill them in order to, say, interact with the ghost, which is up there on the bridge. But again, the ghost needs to not be in combat. He needs to not have any enemy near him, and then you interact with him, speak to him, and your door will open and you'll be able to go and confront the first boss after getting through this lava door, killing these two groups of enemies. And here you are, the first boss of the dungeon, Misriel. Now her main mechanic is to spawn in these imps, which are going to have different effects. One of them is going to buff up like the damage of enemies and cause fire pools on the ground. Another is just going to heal everything. So the priority as soon as they appear is to kill them ASAP. What a lot of groups do and what we do as of now is to just use your dailies and mounts and kill them as quickly as possible, ignoring artifact calls. These imps will spawn at a HP threshold of the boss. That way, if you were to burn the boss, you would end up with multiple of these imps at once, causing a lot more of a challenging time than it may be necessary. So you can just take things slow and avoid the red areas and kill the boss slowly, and when the imps spawn, you use your burst, like your daily power, your mount and your artifact. That way, damage dealers can use personal artifacts like the envenomed storyteller, and we can get some more daily powers more often, being able to kill these imps quicker. Now, yes, you do have those red areas like we see here on the ground. They will regularly appear. Just don't stand in them because they will give you a debuff that will increase the damage you take. Additionally, this boss has this cone attack. You will see this right here. It will be telegraphed on the ground, but you need to move out of it sooner than you might think. And it's going to one-shot pretty much anybody, including the tank, if you get hit by it. This attack right there. Do not get stuck in it and keep moving out of those red areas. So as the tank, I do recommend staying close and up front to the boss so that you can always move out of that area of the cone when you need to, and be aware of where the damage dealers position themselves if they need to kill an imp, that you aren't facing the boss in that direction. Otherwise, the boss will phase, spawning adds, and at some point she will also disappear. She'll either just be gone or she'll come back, like temporarily, with a grayed out HP bar. At this point, you need to be close to the boss as the tank for this damage soak effect. You can tank it together, but it is best the tank just tanks it alone, and that's it. You will easily survive it and not run the risk of, say, killing somebody. So as soon as you see the boss is gone and then her gray HP bar pops up, you need to make sure you're moving towards her direction as the tank, and the damage dealers be aware of this soak check and don't get stuck in it. As a tank, you can somewhat avoid it by like moving kind of weirdly, especially when you go right up at her face like this and you just move side to side. It might not even deal any damage to you. Here it did hit us. But yeah, you can just tank it and otherwise kill the adds when they spawn in. On master difficulty, when you get the adds spawning in, you will always get one of those big fiends. I recommend running some multi-target in this fight as damage dealers because yeah, you can see you get a lot of those enemies. but you do need to focus your single target on these imps, because say this healing one is going to connect to everybody and just heal everybody. You can, of course, as the tank, not threaten, not get the aggro of the imps. That way the damage dealers can just damage them where they are. But those imps have quite a lot of damage and will kill a damage dealer pretty quickly if they're left alone without the healer to back them up. Ultimately, this boss fight's fairly straightforward. Don't get swamped by adds, keep killing the imps. Don't phaser too fast or you'll get lots of imps. And just avoid red zones. The tank can take that tank buster, the big line attack there, and then just, yeah, make sure the tank's positioning properly so that the cone attack is not going to kill anybody either. And make sure you are moving out of that. The cone attack can one-shot you. After you kill the boss, it's very simple. Just head down the steps. You can group up all of the adds that are down here, but you will have to get through the door. So yeah, you could just kite them together and have somebody run ahead to the door and open it and then continue. We do that here, have one of them open the door. You need to lure them away enough so that the person at the door is out of combat. And then you can continue on here, all the way to these groups of enemies, unlocking the campfire. And at that point, you can just die and reset. All the enemies will run off and pretty much reset back. That way, you're at the second boss very nice and easily. This boss is going to be the most challenging. He has two different types of enemy he's going to summon. A warlock and a summoner. The summoner, after a few seconds, is going to start summoning hounds unless she is controlled. If she's controlled, then she'll delay that. So what you can do is just kill the summoner ASAP, keep her controlled while you're killing her, and then she will not summon any hounds. The hounds are absolutely nasty and can easily cause a wipe. There are a few strategies you can do. If you're not quick enough at killing the summoners when they appear, then you might want to tank near the edge and use the strategy to push the hounds off. Now this boss will summon these adds again based on HP threshold. So the quicker you kill the boss, the sooner he's going to summon the next group of warlocks and summoners. And the amount is going to vary also on the amount of hit points he has. So first of all, it's going to be at, he's going to begin with a warlock and a summoner. Then it's going to be 95%. Then it's going to be 80%. Then it's going to be 65%. And then it's going to be 50%. That is a 15% hit point difference all the way till 50%. And each time he summons one warlock and he summons one summoner. So you'll have all the damage dealers focus on it as soon as this appears, like we do here. Smoke Bomb with the days from Rogue is super good to keep it controlled and not have it summoning more. But once you get to the 50% mark, it gets a bit more challenging. You are now going to have two summoners. You can see the one in the front here, that's what I'm dedicated to kill, and the one in the back there. Keep in mind, they always spawn in these locations. One a bit further to the front and one a little bit back. So you can always be to the right side of the boss there when they appear, and the tank rotates a little bit so that he's not facing the damage dealers, because the tank buster is a multi-target attack. You need to kill now two at the same time while controlling them to prevent them from summoning hounds. Also, if they do summon hounds, they will now summon two each. So it's very important you kill them and control them before they summon tons and tons of them and it just gets out of hand. The warlocks are not that vital to kill immediately. You can delay on those as they will just give damage resistance to the boss and the summoners. You do want to kill them, however, before the next wave of summoners come, because then you will be just stacking more and more damage resistance, resulting in you not being able to actually deal much damage and not being able to actually kill them. So what we do here is we know exactly what HP threshold the boss is going to next summon the enemies, and that way we can monitor our cooldowns, our mount powers, daily powers, things like that to make sure we are ready for the next wave. And here we go, we get two more. And these will summon again. 50%, 40%, 30%, 20%, and that's when you will go again to the next phase. And each time there he will summon two summoners and one warlock, and each summoner, if given the chance, will summon 2 hounds. Once you get to 20%, it's going to start happening every 5% of his hit points. So it's going to be 20%, 15%, 10%, 5%, and he's actually going to summon 2 summoners and 2 warlocks. So it gets even harder because now you have all of this extra damage resistance to deal with as well. So what you do again is see how much hit points the boss has, phase slowly, make sure you're ready for the next summoners and the next wave of warlocks, and kill them before you have to deal with the next wave again. This is really important in Master in particular, and also in Advanced. In Normal, I assume you can just burn the boss and kill everything and you'll usually be fine. Now, one thing to be very wary of is the flame pillars that this boss can summon, and it can be super nasty. It's going to deal damage to you, the area is bigger than it shows, and it's going to give a heavy damage over time effect to you. In order to avoid it altogether, is you just stay near the boss. If all allies are within 15 feet of the boss, you will never get a flame pillar, which is again the damage area and then also the damage over time effect that goes with it. The damage over time effect can be cleansed with like barbecued meat, also with the cleanse of the healer. But it is usually best to stay close to the boss at all times. Use melee companions because ranged ones will trigger those flame pillars. And don't use like the Mount Power, the Toad, don't use your Owlbear figurine. They can all trigger a firebomb, killing everybody. On top of that, you have this push away mechanic that the boss has. So you just saw it there, and you can see the red area, you dodge out of it, he pushes everybody away, and then he puts an outer red area, which just does damage over time. So just dodge out of the red, and you can come back then immediately. And that's pretty much it. As a tank, you can use your shield. As a paladin healer, you can use your shield. And as the other damage dealers, either move out or dodge at the right time to immunity frame it, because you can. And as a barbarian, you can go into rage and just ignore it as well, because you have control immunity. So the basics of this boss are fairly straightforward. Again, every 15%, he will summon a summoner and then a warlock. Then once he's at 50% hit points, he will then every 10% summon 2 summoners and a warlock. And then once he gets to 20%, he's going to summon 2 warlocks and 2 summoners every 5% of his hit points. And then he's going to put these flame pillars like you just saw there on the damage dealers. If you're further than 15 feet away from him, he's regularly going to do the push attack, and he does the tank buster, which is a multi-target attack on the tank pretty often. So make sure the tank is not staying amongst the damage dealers. Now what you can do is what you see we do here. And I was just testing this out, and you can see the warlocks or the summoners, depending on how you have them positioned, can just fall off the map and die. I assume that might not be intended, but it's currently how it's designed. The devs can very easily change it if they want, so that the summoners or warlocks who fall off can just spawn in the middle, like they have done in, say, the Loth fight. You push off the spiders, they spawn in the middle. Very simple. I don't know if they will change it to do that, but be aware that this strategy might not always be here. I'm sure there's many different locations you can put this boss in order to manipulate the AI of the summoning of those, and you can mess around with it yourself, but it is ultimately, cheesing the mechanic of this boss. He is supposed to defeat you by summoning those, and you're supposed to have to deal with them rather than pushing them off. They have been designed to be control immune to push effects, and so I don't think it's intended they can just fall off the map and die like that. So you kill the boss, you get your loot, and you can walk away. Again, there is other strategies people have used where if you have to deal with the hounds spawning in, you would have somebody push them off with the Celestial Wings Mount Power or a wizard using Repel. Multiple different strategies there. Once you've killed the boss, you go here and you just continue, kill your adds. You do have to kill this initial area, then this section of the wall will open up to you and you can continue on, kill these enemies. You can at this point like kite them all together. You can just keep running. Once up here with these guys, you can jump down here and then you can continue on skipping an ad group to your left up there over this little hill, and then you have some zombies you can kill. And then you can continue on to your right here, skipping that ad group to the left, and you'll get to your campfire, unlock it. You can all die, reset, or if somebody's quick enough, they can even open the portal to already go to the boss fight. And this last boss is fairly straightforward. It's just the home run, nice and easy in most cases. It's a green-red dragon with an extra bit of mechanics. Same roar effect, same wing attack, same bite effect, same poison pools on the ground, all what you would find in an ancient green dragon hunt. The only thing special here is his like breath attack with his leap, and then these red tiers on the ground. You can see currently this formation, there are 5 tiers, 1 in the middle and 4 on the outside. And when we go to play this, you can see they will become red areas, but for like a split second before they explode. And so you need to move before you see the red. You do not have enough time to move. So once you see those tiers appear, you go to the correct position. So if it's in this formation, you can see where the safe spots are going to be, and you'll move there already based on the pattern on the floor. It's very straightforward once you get the idea. There are multiple different formations that it can be in here. But otherwise, you kill the dragon as normal. I do recommend putting him near the edge here, as he does have this ability where he will leap at you, kind of ending up behind you and then breathing his poison attack on you. If you don't move correctly as the tank, he will breathe all over the damage dealers and kill them. At this part, we're going to have the red tiers and we're going to have the dragon leap. So there you see the tiers. You will also see the voice line. He's leaped at us now. We need to get around quickly and then he will breathe at us. We just move out of that. That way, because we're fighting him near the edge, we're positioned correctly, he just breathes at the wall. If we didn't move, he would just breathe all over the damage dealers. Because again, he's like trying to jump behind you and then breathe over you and all the damage dealers. Here again, you need to move quickly in order to get out of there. Here, we could have moved a bit further to the side so that we didn't get hit as well. It can deal quite a bit of damage and it's going to give you a debuff so that you take extra damage again. There is also a mechanic he can put, which is this poison clouds on the ground. So he's going to put all of these red areas near the players. We'll see it just about now when we're like phasing him. You see all those red areas. You need to move out of them as per where they were. It's not so easy to see the poison, and I think that's intended. You need to remember where the red areas and the pools were and just don't go in them. And once you're at like, I believe the 10% mark, you will also get like a damage mitigation check. He's going to damage everybody in a burst, and it's going to like keep stacking up multiple times, and each time he's going to give you a debuff and cause you to take more and more damage each time. This boss just doesn't have a lot of hit points that you can easily phase through that pretty quickly, and the whole fight is significantly easier than any of the previous ones in this dungeon. And yeah, since we kind of kited all of the enemies together, they were all waiting there to get us and we had to kill them. It's not part of the dungeon. Normally, if you killed all the enemies before you got to this boss, you wouldn't have to do what we just did there. But you have to then break the crystal, which is just here before you can actually get your chests. And that's it, dungeon completed. If you feel like I've missed any tips, feel free to put them in the comments below. But ultimately, thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.